Hello everyone and welcome to the 3.0 Bodyguard Mercenary Healer Overview. We're taking a look today at the good old healer spec for the Merc. Now it's a pretty reasonably good class. This is probably one of the best actually overall healers in the game. I would say this one. Pretty decent now. We don't main it anymore. Typical of BioWare, they make our class good before we even bother to play it anymore. Anyway, let's get on with this. We'll take a look at what's new. Let's take a look at the new things. Well, everything's new, to be honest. The whole class has had a complete restructuring. So we'll start with the most new things. Basically, the rapid scan and healing scan have been completely changed. These were our two basic heals, our two base heals, have been completely overhauled. Rapid scan now heals for more, has a longer activation time now. It's now 2 seconds by default. This is 1.5 I think now on rapid scan. So before, rapid scan was the longer cast and healing scan was the shorter cast, but rapid scan always healed for more than healing scan. As you can see now, healing scan is doing a lot more healing. It has a 11-second cooldown. The other big change has come to proactive medicine. Proactive medicine, which used to be linked to healing scan, is now on emergency scan. So a bit of a nerf there, you could argue, but also emergency scan now procs our healing scan so that it can activate instantly. So basically, these are all changed now. It used to be you would want to fire off rapid scans. Now rapid scan is just a little bit of a filler right now because healing scan is the big heal. You generally want to use emergency scan and then healing scan. This makes us a very nice burst healer. This makes us one of the best burst healers in the game because potentially we could have 3 instant cast heals in a row. We can have our supercharged gas, we can pop that off, which removes the cooldown of healing scan, and we can pop power surge to get an instant cast healing scan, and we can also use emergency scan to give us another instant cast healing scan. So there's what, 3 heals in a row without casting. That is pretty nice for burst healing. Of course, we're not going to put all of that on the one target, so this makes us pretty much the de facto tank healer for this expansion. We have replaced the Scoundrel pretty much as the tank healer. We are the top tank healer in the game, I would say. The Sage is not that far behind us. The other big change is that rapid shots no longer can be used on a friendly target. Instead, we've got Colto Shot. Don't like the animation on that. We can also Colto Shot ourselves if we have no target selected, which is pretty nice. We don't have to self-target now. Nice little gameplay addition. Colto Cloud also only has 7 stacks instead of 13 now. So what's our other new thing? Colto Missile does 8 allies instead of 4. Get 8 people healed up. We also it no longer buffs our healing, so it no longer buffs healing received. You still get your Colto Pool though, your little Colto Pool that does some healing over time, which is nice. So we can heal up to 8 targets, which improves our AoE healing, but we're still not the best AoE healer. The other new heal we get at level 57, the brand new one, is Progressive Scan. Progressive Scan is a channeled ability that ticks on more targets the longer it goes. So you can have here, you'll see it starts on 1, moves on to 2, 3, and eventually 4 targets it will heal. Again, as we use it, it heals more people. So it's a nice little channeled heal. It's really good if you're healing 2 tanks that are close to each other. So if you're doing, what is it again, Bulow is pretty good, and Torg are pretty nice because the 2 tanks are quite near each other. So if you want to heal both tanks with the same heal, it's also very good for healing melee DPS. What we find is it's very good for that because they'll all be on the boss. So you tend to target a tank, target one of the melee DPS, and fire off your progressive scan to get some nice little extra AoE healing. You can also fire your Colto Missile at them, but AoE healing is not really our big bag. It's not really our bag anymore. Right, So we'll take a look at our utilities. What we want, improved vents, goes without saying. Heat management is an issue now. Heat management is quite an issue for us now. A lot of things we do generate a lot of heat. All those instant casts that we talked about, they might be very good for burst healing, but they're not very good for heat. So improved vents is always useful. Gyroscopic alignment jets. You vent 10 heat while stunned, immobilized, knocked down, or otherwise incapacitated. It's not really that useful, to be honest with you. It might sound quite useful, but we can't guarantee that we're going to get hit and knocked down. If PvP, yeah, we can guarantee someone's going to stun us. Again, I always like to take Power Barrier. Power Shot, Tracer Missile, and Rapid Scan generates a Power Barrier that increases damage reduction by 1% for 15 seconds, and it will stack 5 times, so we can essentially get 5% damage reduction, because we will be using Rapid Scan quite a lot. Occasionally we might use Power Shot occasionally to keep this up. Jet Escape, it's tempting to take this. If you're getting stunned a lot, you might want to take these two. If there's a fight that's going to stun us a lot, maybe you could drop Custom Envirosuit and take Gyroscopic Alignment Jets and Jet Escape. But it is very situational. Reduce the cooldown of Jet Boost by 5 seconds. And Determination. Determination's our breakout stun. We'll talk more about Jet Boost later on as we get on. Afterburners, Rocket Punch immobilizes the target. Direct damage, 2 seconds, ends the effect. Again, kind of useless. Bore Sights, increase the damage dealt by Sweeping Blasters. Not for raiding, not for Flashpoint, so we have to say it's not very good for them. Custom Envirosuit, endurance by 3%. We get, again, gives us more HP, which is not really great, but the healing received by 3% is why we take it. You can take Jet Escape or Custom Envirosuit. Take your pick, really, for raiding. Again, if you are getting stunned a lot, it is probably worth taking Jet Escape. If you're using Jet Boost healing a lot, which again we'll cover later on, then you probably want this. 5 seconds off a Jet Boost is pretty nice. Again, we move on to Masterful. Maybe Torque Boosters, increasing the duration of Hydraulic Overrides by 4 seconds. Situational at best, this is. Again, if it reduced the cooldown of Hydraulic Overrides, we'd probably take it, but again, it only increases the duration, so it's useful on fights where there's going to be movement impairing things or knockbacks. It can be quite useful on them, so it may be worth considering for certain fights. But again, if you just time it better, like if you do the Underlucker, if you can get behind the rock on the Underlucker before, you know, if you can get there fairly quickly without using Hydraulic Overrides, you can then pop Hydraulic Overrides, so you avoid the big knockback from the Underlucker. So, you know, if we time it better, then we don't need to take this. Suit FOE, when you activate Cure on yourself, a foreign object exciser reduces all periodic damage taken by 30% for 12 seconds. Very situational, this one. We don't want to be wasting cures on ourselves because they have a long cooldown. We generally are cleansing tanks and DPS, so I wouldn't suggest that. Again, if there's a fight with heavy periodic damage, it may be worth it. You know, like Nerfa. Maybe we would have used this on Nerfa had it been available to us in 2.0 in the healer spec. Protective Field is pretty nice. Increase all healing received by 20% while Energy Shield is active. Very good, very powerful cooldown, because the Merc's cooldowns are not very powerful. Energy Shield just gives us a 25% damage reduction for 12 seconds. It's nice to add that healing on top of it, that 20%, 23% if we stack it with this one. So again, if we're ever in trouble in a flashpoint or a operation, we can just pop that and give ourselves some more healing. Energy Shield decreases our pushback, makes us immune to interrupts. Not really that useful, to be honest with you. We shouldn't be getting interrupted in PvE. PvP maybe, certainly, but pushbacks shouldn't be a huge issue for us. Most of our heals don't suffer any pushbacks, I'm pretty sure we get, yeah, reduce the pushback healing abilities by 70%, so we don't really need that. It does reduce the pushback, eliminates it entirely, but I've never really had a massive issue. And again, we've got a lot of instant cast heals, so never really. Pyro Shield again is not really what we want. We'd rather take Protective Field rather than Pyro Shield. It just our Energy Shield ignites in a blaze, which does damage to attackers. We'd rather have the healing as a healer. As a DPS, you could argue it's a slight DPS increase, but you'd rather personally have the healing. Heat dampening, eliminate the heat generated by Jet Boost, Concussion Missile, Cure, and Electro Dart. Pretty nice actually for raiding. There are certain situations where we want a CC. CC is our Concussion Missile. Jet Boost is our AoE heal. We're going to take that. We'll talk about that. Colto Jets when we get that. When we get to Heroic. So again, it eliminates the... also eliminates our Cleanse. Because bear in mind, this class is very heat sensitive at the moment in healer spec. So eliminating those heat costs is pretty nice. Infrared sensors, stealth detection, we don't really care about in PvE. It's a PvP thing. Heroic. Moving on to Heroic. Energy rebounder, when we take damage, the active cooldown of energy shield is reduced. Not really what we want, to be honest with you. Again, you could argue if you pair it with that, maybe, but there are better things to take. What do we get? We're taking damage of a 20% chance to emit an energy readout which absorbs a low amount of the damage. It's one of those things, it's a little bit tempting to take, but the way the skill tree works, it just doesn't work out very well. Like, if it was in the Masterful one, we'd probably take it. We'd maybe take that. But the fact that it's in Heroic, and we've only got a choice of 2 in Heroic, meaning we're not going to take it. That's unfortunate for that one. Jet Rebounder. Increase the damage dealt by Jet Boost with 30%. Again, we don't want to do damage as a healer. Just the cooldown as Jet Boosts by 1 second. You could argue maybe Colto Jets. Jet Boost provides us with an extra heal. 7 other allies. It'll heal 8. It heals you and 7. So it'll heal 8 people. For a small amount of healing. It's nice if we need it. It's tempting not to take this because it is such a very little heal. We'll show you how much it actually heals for. It is very little, but it is nice to have that. And bear in mind that we can make it free of heat cost by taking heat dampening. So it is nice to have it. It depends on what you're doing. We'll discuss a little bit later on in the video how we can go for a different build with the Merc Healer. But again, for general purpose 8-man raiding and HM flashpoints, I would take it. I would always take it. The next skill I've taken is Thrill of the Hunt. Unload Blazing Bolts and Progressive Scan to be used on the move. It's nice to be able to use Progressive Scan on the move. Again, for certain fights like Torg, where we have to get out of fire, I find it's pretty useful there because we can heal 2 tanks at the same time, and as well as some melee DPS, and move out of the fire without losing our AoE healing. Bear in mind our AoE healing is quite weak, hence why we've taken these 2. The other one, anything else? Reduce the damage taken in area effects by 30%. Maybe you'd want to take this. Again, it's another one of these things. It's quite good. These ones are pretty nice. So while we're stunned, we take 30% less damage from all sources. That's less useful, but reduce area damage taken. Reduce damage taken from AoE 30%. Things like Sword Squadron, maybe you might want to drop Colto Jets for stabilized armor. Maybe Supercharged Reserves is a waste of time. Reduces the cooldown of Cure. We could argue maybe reducing the cooldown of Cure, but recharge and reload, building your 10 stacks is pointless because, as someone pointed out in the DPS video, you can, if you want to generate stacks, just Colto shot yourself before the fight starts. And then, you know, you can just build 10 stacks. You should start the fight with 10 stacks. That's probably what you want to do. So again, you can just do that. It's going to take a bit longer. There we go. We've got our weapons are on fire. Our guns are on fire! So there, we can always start the fight with that if we need to. Colto shot is free, of course. So we can always do that while we're waiting for the ready check. So it kind of reduces the need for that. Disabling shot, maybe if we need to interrupt things. Cure, if we're doing a lot of cleansing, maybe. Power overrides it's one of these things that's really kind of tempting, but it tends to burn us into heat. That's why we don't take it. It burns us out of heat, really. Again, we get 2 charges of our power surge. So we could theoretically chain together, what is it, 5 heals without casting. This is going to burn out our heat. That's why we don't take it, because we're just going to go whoop and have no heat. Very good for burst healing, however, it is going to mean that we've got no heat left, so we can only really use jet boost and colto shot essentially from that build. There is another build that you can go for if you don't if you're doing 16 man raiding and you have enough AoE healing, and you can say, right, I'm going to be the tank healer. I'm not going to focus on AoE healing, so I can get rid of colto jets. You can get rid of heat dampening, I guess, if you wanted. And you can maybe take other things, like I would probably take stabilized armor, would be my choice again, especially on fights like the Underlurker, Sword Squadron. But on 8-man and flashpoints, there are going to be times when we're going to need to AoE heal, and having those 3 AoE heals, they might not be that strong compared to the Scoundrel, say, but or even the Sage, but it's nice to have it there. I like to have it, and it's free. It's a free heal. Again, you could also use Jet Escape and reduce the cooldown of that and be a lot into Jet Boost. I like Thrill of the Hunt, to be honest with you. Some people say don't take it, but I like it because it allows us to move. The amount of times you have to move while channeling basically means that we keep our AoE healing up, which is nice. Again, because AoE healing is not really our bag. We'll use it on Chem here. See if we can just wander around and it spreads out to those 3 targets. So it's good if the tanks are particularly in close proximity. If these 2 droids were the tank and they were attacking Chem and they're pretty close to each other, we just pop out our progressive scan and we get healing on both tanks and some of the melee DPS as well that are going to be right next to them. It is kind of annoying when they're all spread out though for AoE healing, but other than that, it is pretty useful. So we'll talk about our healing rotation. I guess we don't really have a rotation for healing, to be honest. It's more like a priorities list. So our priority is to get proactive medicine on the tank. What we want to do, of course, we're going to Colto Shell. Chem Val is our tank here. He's only level 42 for some reason. So we're going to get Colto Shell everybody in the raid. Generally, again, you can still put it on multiple targets. We'll just use these droids and we'll put it on ourselves. So get Colto Shell up on the entire raid. That's going to be the first thing that you're going to do. Then your priority becomes getting proactive medicine on the tank. So proactive medicine is emergency scan. You want to use this on cooldown? You want to try and keep proactive medicine on the tank. On the main tank, at least. Proactive medicine does give the tank a 10% armor buff for 45 seconds. So keeping this up on the main tank is pretty important. It also provides a small hot over 9 seconds. Little bit of healing over time there. So we do want that. So we want to get off our emergency scan. That is our first priority. You see, we've got the proc. Generally what we do is switch to our second tank, and if our second tank is taking any damage, we will then fire off our healing scan. While these are on cooldown, you're just going to pad out your healing with rapid shots, Colto Missile, if it'll fire off, there it goes. A progressive scan if for AoE healing, and we're just going to be padding these out with rapid scans. We do have certain things that do reduce the heat of rapid scan. Again, we want to keep power barrier up, so that's going to be our strategy for this. Is keep that. Try not to cast healing scan if possible. Bear in mind that your supercharged gas resets the cooldown of healing scan, so if possible. We also get a little buff on that which increases its healing, which is nice to keep up as well. So again, you just want to keep that up. You probably want to keep that on cooldown. Progressive scan when necessary. Again, for AoE healing. Colto Missile is pretty nice. Colto Missile we don't really want to fire at the main tank if they're like too far apart from the raid, because we used to fire Colto Missile because we got Colto residue. So you can see here there's no more Colto residue, which improves our healing, so there's no point in firing that at the main tank. Save it for your AoE heal. Your AoE healing strategy is fairly simple. Get your Colto Missile off right away, because it provides healing over time, and then you want to fire off your rapid scan, and if you need to be on the move, you can fire off your jet boost as well. So generally your priority is Colto Missile first, generally, just so because it does provide HOTS as well, and then get your rapid scan off. You can use all three of these on the move, which is pretty nice. So AoE healing on the go is actually pretty good, and of course you can always use your rapid shot. What is it called? Colto shot on the move. I keep calling it rapid shots. Kind of annoying that we don't actually shoot them with our guns anymore. But again, you can keep this up. It's useful, tends to be most useful for building stacks of slow release med pack. There's our protected thing there. Armor rating increased. So that's what that does. It will give them a little armor buff, as you can see. No, it didn't give him a little armor buff. Oh yeah, sorry, that's the wrong one. There it is. Proactive medicine, which gives them an armor buff for 10. It lasts for 45 seconds. 10% armor buff for 45 seconds. You got your emergency response there. That's your instant cast healing scan. Again, we tend to put emergency scan on one tank, instant healing scan on the other tank. That tends to be our priority. Always remembering, again, keep Colto Shell up. Whenever Colto Shell wears off. Colto Shell only lasts for what, a couple of minutes. See how long it lasts on them. Yeah, well, 3 minutes. 2 minutes 58. 3 minutes there. So it heals on damage taken. Tends to be more efficient than slow release med pack, I find, because again it heals on the damage taken, which again is pretty nice for us. That's all really. Supercharged gas should have supercharged gas up again at the pool. So you want to be at your pool, you just want to be sitting rapid shotting yourself just before the ready check. Wait for the ready check to start. Wait till the end of the ready check. So be last on the ready check when you've got your Colto Shell up on everyone, and get yourselves a stack. And you're opening again. It does remove the cooldown of this, so you can get this off, and then you can fire off a rapid scan on your tank. Go to the other tank, fire off a healing scan, and again you've got another healing scan available to you. So if there's any heavy burst damage at the beginning, it's nice to have those kind of things there. But again, it is a very different class to what it used to be. It used to be we'd always be firing off our healing scan. We generally would save emergency scan, but this time we're going to be using emergency scan just to buff the tank's armor, because again that armor buff for 45 seconds, again the cooldown is only 20 seconds, so you can use emergency scan on the other tank, on the off tank, if it's a 2-tank type fight. So again, using it on both tanks is pretty nice. You are pretty much designed as the tank healer, and you're pretty much the best tank healer. Set bonuses, I don't actually know what the set bonuses are, so I haven't got any set bonuses. I haven't done a lot of raiding on this character. Relics, we just take the Rusan ones, the power and primary stat relic we take. For gear wise, well, we got 28% crit. For some weird reason, that's a lot of crit. I'm gonna drop that crit. Why have we only got 3% alacrity? What the? Wow, we're really low on alacrity and really high on crit. Yeah, we're pretty unbalanced. I don't think I've optimized this character. To be honest, 76% surge is too much. 28% crit is too much. Yeah, everything's crit in it. Huh, interesting. High velocity gas gives us 7% a lot. That's why I was 7, and it drops our crit. So we get extra crit from. Ooh, interesting. So yeah, we're probably going to drop that and probably go into alacrity. Now we don't need a lot of alacrity. Probably want 25 crit. Probably want about 75. Probably between 70 and 75 surge. But we probably want at least 6% alacrity, because it will help our cooldowns out. Jeez, that's pretty bad. It's tempting to go into high velocity gas cylinder actually. So it does increase your crit. That's interesting. Never knew that before. I was looking at it earlier, but when I looked at it earlier, I had high velocity gas cylinder up. I was thinking, oh, that's not too bad actually. But now I look at it now, yeah, we want to drop that surge and drop that crit. We'll probably drop it out of those pants and go for power alacrity. We'll probably take power alacrity from the headpiece as well. Maybe, yeah, power alacrity. Power alacrity. I like to take the bolt blasters implants, the DPS implants, just because it's power surge. I find crit alacrity is the healer ones. Again, we're quite high on crit. I probably want to drop that by 3%, drop that surge by a couple of percentage points and push that up to at least 6% alacrity, because again it's going to help our cooldowns out and help with our heat venting as well. So again, that's what we're going to do on this character for optimization purposes. I think we ran out of comms. I think that was what we did. Yeah, well, I got 231. Yeah, probably did run out of comms when we were optimizing this, because I had to buy a DPS set as well. So again, I bought a couple of DPS PCs as well for this character. So that's why we're not fully optimized yet on this one. But definitely we will be swapping that crit surge for power alacrity. Definitely. Just when I saw that there. I saw that before I recorded the video. I saw that I was like 25% crit, 75%, I was like 6%. I thought that's not too bad, and then I switched cylinders and it's like, whoa. Tempting to go in high velocity gas cylinder, but it will lower our healing, overall healing output, so we're not going to do that. So again, that's nice that that increases alacrity. Didn't really know that, to be honest. What does combustible gas do? Nothing. High velocity gas gives us more, gives us less crit, but more alacrity. Oh, that's pretty nice. And that one gives us less alacrity but more crit. So yeah, we've got... Oh, you don't get any base alacrity, don't you know? Right, so that's what we're gonna do for this character. So again, there's a lot to cover in this video, basically. Healing is pretty nice on the Merc. They are one of the best healers in the game. So that is all for this video. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again soon, and goodbye.